Ready to chat up at the legislature, and he's saying, hey, when are you guys going to get involved with this? I said, why don't you come make a presentation? Here you are.
Here we are.
Turn the time.
I do want
on TV?
so I see my evil twin.
That's you now.
So I do want to say something in support of your county manager, because I am at all county-related statewide functions fairly consistently, and I tell you what, that guy's in the trenches. He shows up every Thursday and takes all the heat and abuse of the UAC meetings, and stays remarkably well informed. So you are lucky.
Thank you.
While the agenda only says that I want to talk about county seat, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that we also produce an outdoor recreation show that has, for many counties, proven to be very successful at broadening their tourism appeal and getting people to come visit the areas. And in particular, there's a certain kind of adventure-oriented, family-oriented recreation that we're very good at reaching an audience to. And it might serve some benefit to the people in your community that support those activities. I'd like you to think about that as well. So, last time I was here, I had two purposes. Obviously, this show costs us just a little over $500,000 a year to create 52 episodes, and so we need support to make it happen and become a voice collectively for the counties in the state. It is a mystery government. A lot of people don't really understand what you guys do, and for the last 7 years we have created a dialogue that allows for people to understand the complexities of county government. We've taken on issues from centrally assessed taxes, and I believe that after 4 attempts over 7 years to explain it, we finally got it right so people can understand it. Issues of jail funding, contracting, road maintenance, titles, right-of-ways, the gamut of things that we have covered to help your constituents understand county governance has been broad. And where it needs to be reminded, we remind it. We talk about energy, we talk about conservation. We have even done a show on wildland interface before. The difference is that we like active participants, and while part of my duty today will try to keep my pulse on what's important to Wasatch County, I also would be remiss if I didn't say that this is a pretty good deal for you to be involved in, and would like you to join the ranks of the 24 other counties that support us. So I kind of would like to just be open to some questions and then finish up by asking you some questions. So you guys go first. Questions for Mr. Booth?
Are there 24 other counties in Utah, or is that in all of the states?
No, this is only a Utah show.
Okay.
So we have 5 counties that don't participate. 2 of them because they're broke. 3 of them because they don't want to.
So we one of the 2 or one of the 3?
What? Yes, we'll decide that. I don't think we're broke. But what? I guess my question is, what level of expense and
It varies. It varies from county to county. There are some counties that can't even meet our minimum mark, like Paiute County, but they feel it is very important to participate, and so they come up with what they can, and we've never denied them the access, because every county that participates has equal access to the show. If there's something, the key to making this work is if you're sitting here in a council meeting and you go, why don't people understand? The minute you hit your head, the first thing you should think of is, we need to get this on the county seat, because that's the purpose of our show. And that's what we're good at, is taking complex issues and making them explainable in a half-hour format. There's no other place you can go on TV and get a controversial issue that the county is facing and get it 22.5 minutes of airtime to thoroughly vet it and discuss it. It just doesn't happen. Average news story is 90 seconds. With film, it's about 120. A lead feature story is lucky to run 3. And I give 22 minutes to an entire single subject. And it's proven. Our audience is consistently started to tick up every year. By the time you take in the universe of the other TV stations and cable operators that have asked us if they can air the show, to which we say, sure, the more times it's out there, the better. So the Uinta Basin's cable access channel runs it 6 times a week. Carbon Emery and Moab, their cable operator, also makes it a part of their show. KTTA, one of Utah's other broadcast stations in Monroe, that takes that whole 89 divide. They broadcast it multiple times per week. Southern Utah Live picks it up. So the program, how many times are we airing a week, Darren?
About 40.
About 40 times a week in the state of Utah. Each weekly program is repeated.
So give an example. I understand. I watched the program a few times. Give an example of what we join, and so we come to you with an issue that we'd like to have aired. Run through that process, how that works, or an example of what might have happened in the past.
Like an issue that you guys have?
Yeah, other situations that other counties have had, and they come and you pick on. How does that work?
Well, in the last year, San Juan County and Bears Ears, they're a big issue. And they had a lot of well-funded outside influence that was opposing what the residents in the county felt was the direction they wanted to go. And so, whether not dealing with the issue of the monument itself, but dealing with the residents of San Juan County, the vast majority of them, and the issues that were important to them, there was no vehicle for that to be discussed. So we picked that up and we did a couple of episodes for them.
So you bring those people in to talk about their side of the issue.
Yeah. So like if you have an issue that you want to get out, you come to us and say, this is a story we'd like to talk about. And
So you work with the to
Yeah,
develop that
exactly.
story.
Sure.
You may have one of us come on, you may have some, I've seen your other commission members on the, I know on the public lands issues, you've had other.
Exactly. Nobody can speak the issue better than a representative of the county. Because even as much as we try to discuss it, it really needs your input. If you're at ground zero on this, you guys, I mean, just look at the session you guys just sat through. You guys have a better understanding of this than I do, because I only caught this one meeting, but I know you guys have been developing this map for quite a while. Another issue, grazing issues. Grazing and reseeding was a big problem that just couldn't get traction down in Kane County, mostly because of federal agencies. And we did a series of programs over 2 years, and because they were out, and because it was public dialogue, it kind of held the BLM's feet to the fire, and they got with it and improved their grazing situation, particularly when we went out on a tour and we put on television, biologists and the plant people from BYU saying, no, this is what you need to do to improve your range, whether you put cattle on it or not. This is healthy, what you're doing is not. But once that hit TV, all of a sudden they start changing their mind about things. So, those are just a couple of examples. Centrally assessed taxes is almost everybody has problems. I don't know if you're a big centrally assessed tax county, but I know your neighbors next door are, and it's been a big issue. So we take on those kinds of issues. Basically, everybody in county government, from your sheriff to your board members, you have access to my cell phone. And if something's brewing, right at the point where it starts to become an issue, that's the time to get in touch with us so that we can get out ahead of it. In crisis management, they say that when a situation hits, don't duck it. Say it first, say it clearly, say it once. And you then are in the position to generate the dialogue that shapes the issue. Instead of waiting for something or someone else or some other group to create the dialogue that the county has to react to. It's much better to be out in front of it.
How far ahead do you have your things scheduled? Do you have the ability, if something like this comes up, that you refer to can't wait 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the next program opens.
You can ask Darren.
We shoot things on Thursday that air on Saturdays. So,
Yes.
I'm sure you have some plans down the road. though.
but some of those can be moved, so yes, if something comes
So
up.
there's flexibility, so you get
Right.
an issue that's the odd issue, you can get it out.
So as an example, we had just pushed a domestic abuse program that actually has some connection to your county with an opening of the center in Utah County. We pushed that show back a couple of weeks because there were other legislatively important things that we needed to move. So it's scheduled to air next week. Originally, it was supposed to air like 3 weeks ago. So we can, we run the juggling act and we can deal with things quickly, but we can also take a great deal of time if there's an issue that you know is a long-term issue that you could get involved in.
How do you handle a complex, multifaceted issue that maybe the county or the council takes a position on that some other groups in the public may have a different position on? So how do you present that by being fair, but also we'd like to get our say out as well? So how do you handle journalistic integrity in that situation?
Well,
Would you say you're a news or journalism program, or
I would
PR program?
no, I would say that we are an information dispersal program that basically uses journalistic standards. But I am not journalism, and nobody thinks that we're journalism. We are the spokesman for Utah's counties, and we proudly run a disclaimer at the beginning of our show to tell people that that's what we are. And where controversy and other points of view are valuable to the conversation, then we'll put them in. But if they are getting, if you are getting an issue that is getting 10 hours of play on the other side, I feel no obligation to reiterate in our program their point of view when yours has been so overlooked. Exactly. So that's how we work it, and actually Channel 4 enjoys our independence that they've given us, as long as we don't get them in trouble with the FCC, because they are kind of aware. That's why we have the disclaimer. They're aware of the problem that counties have in not being able to really get their information out. And they're also aware that we have a really strong audience. About 74,000 viewers per week are tuning into the county seat just to see what they're doing.
So it sounds like we'd be buying airtime pretty much. I see this. And season 7, how long does the season go for?
Well, January to January. So we're pretty much in the beginning. Any level that you came in, we can get you caught up. I have to have a currency for the show. There have been some people who say, well, why don't you just not run commercials? We'll all pitch in and we'll do it. But I have to have a currency, and I also have to have a vehicle for people to, get some outbound use of the audience. And so we set up commercials so that your economic development department, your tourism bureau, other people have access to 30-second spots, and that becomes the currency of the show. It's separated from the content.
That's what I was thinking. We almost should have them involved as well. Park and Rec, tourism,
Sure.
development, because
Yeah. There are different counties that approach it different ways. Uinta Basin uses basically economic development money, or Duchesne County. Garfield County uses a combination of economic development and tourism. Kane County uses economic development dollars. They used to use tourism dollars. And so it just varies on the county, whichever works for them. And some of them, like San Juan County, totally uses tourism dollars, and we run ads promoting tourism to their county. So it depends on whatever works for you. But there's also one other reason that we keep the commercials in there too. Unfortunately, the attention span of even the most politically active viewer still limits out at about 7 minutes. So we try and keep breaks in the show.
So let me see if I understand this, Chad.
Mhm.
We paid by a quarterly sponsorship of $13,000. ourselves. We get 36 commercials for Wasatch County without having to pay any additional money.
Correct.
And keep in mind, there are 2 airings, so that's 13 weeks of commercial. One commercial's
There's on Saturday night.
and the other one's Sunday night.
Right. And all the other broadcasts, it's just a bonus. We don't even calculate that into the equation for all the other.
Just because they choose to run it more often than
We don't pay for any of our advertising time.
No.
On this show.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, basically to help support the show, you're buying commercials, but on a separate part, you have access to engage with us. I mean, you know, if you had a big problem up here and you weren't giving us a penny and it needed to be discussed, we'd discuss it anyway. Because our goal is to be that mouthpiece for counties. So just, you know, you just have to live with your conscience about whether you feel that's fair or not. Or whether
Food out of your mouth, aren't they, Jack?
What were your thoughts, Mr. Davis? Did you want to chime in at all here? I know we've talked about this before, and I think we talked about tourism, working through our tourism, but I can't remember.
Tourism, economic development into this picture. And we're paying a lot of money for ads now. No, I don't think we get the same return on it.
Well, I think this would be a better, at least in Utah, better exposure, but that's just my opinion. What were your thoughts?
No, I guess my thought was, if you look at it strictly from the commercial advertising point for tourism, it's probably not a bad deal because we have a lot of events in Wasatch County which can be part of that. The other issue...
And I might add, we do not charge for the production of your commercials. So if you were going to promote events during the year, we would help build your, what we call a donut spot that had your basic message. So you had a recurring theme, and then we would plug in the parts about your events as you go through the year.
The other issue is we often talk that we do have complex issues, just as was explained, that it's difficult to get out to, and it's not to say that every person in Wasatch County is going to necessarily watch the show, but I'm sure there are some that do, and perhaps many that do.
Some of them were sitting here in the audience earlier.
Well, we have an issue right now that we're getting a lot of push from other parts of the state. Why aren't we doing this? Maybe we'd have a show on that and explain our position on that.
That's my point. We do come up with those every once in a while. We don't always have them, but we do come up with them once in a while. Maybe this is a good venue. We may have tax issues. We've had them in the past. We may have them in the future.
There's additionally something that comes from this also, because when you have specific issues and you guys think that you're dealing with them on your own, if you alert us, we pulse the other counties, and then pretty soon what we've got is 2 or 3 counties having the same problem, and then all of a sudden that half-hour episode is like, oh yeah, it's not just the Wasatch Council being goofballs. This is a real problem that several counties
Although it could be.
This is a problem that other counties are dealing with. So it does provide you, you know, some safety in numbers on a lot of these issues. Very seldom do we run across a single county issue. You know, most of the time, and that we try to find that. So when you talk to us about an issue and we start learning about it and going through it, we see, well, yeah, that's a problem. You know, I remember Iron County's having a problem like this too. And then we can bring their perspective in. It gets the same point across, but it looks broader.
I think the best thing is we can get all you guys on TV.
Some of us have radio voices, radio faces.
You 2 tourism guys, is there?
Yeah.
Is it digital?
Kick into this?
Posted on YouTube or
Yes.
somewhere where it can be streamed?
Yes, we maintain a YouTube channel. Every single episode of the county seat is available.
What's the address?
You can link to it. It's just the county seat TV. If you put that into your search at YouTube, you'll find it. We also maintain a Facebook presence, and so we're able to. The 2 social medias are very different. You know, YouTube is kind of a resource, and Facebook becomes kind of a push. And so we use Facebook differently, and sometimes when there are important issues or important segments of shows, we'll even do a boost on them if they need to have some legs taken under them. We recently did an RS-2477 piece for Kane County, and we felt that that was an important one to put a little push on. In a week, it shot up to over 100,000 views. So
Maybe take it and put it on our website as well and share it all we want.
yeah, Sevier County actually runs copies of our show all week long in the TV system in their courthouse.
Okay. Do you have a demographic sheet or something that shows where the 75,000 people come from?
Well, to the extent that we get them from Channel 4 and the polling agencies, I'm not really able to break them out, and I certainly can't afford the $11,000, and you think it's expensive now, the $11,000 a month that a rating agency would want for me to be a direct participant. So I just have to live with what I can get from Channel 4.
Chad, you do it on Saturday night at 11 o'clock, that's my bedtime.
Yeah.
Sunday morning is where I'm at.
Sunday morning. But
Before church.
the cable companies that carry it, do they do it different times?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have, Carpet Emery, I think, currently is running us at noon and 6 every day. Oh, somebody's found it already.
I watch you all the time, and your recreational program.
Right.
What next step on this? Obviously, we'd have to look at how to fund that, and that would be with you. And I guess we could do this administratively if we decided that's what we'd like to do at whatever level, correct?
Do you want to start with the tourism board? Is that where you want to?
Yeah, I think we ought to.
Do they have any contracts? Like, you look at this whole sponsorship, 104 commercials. How much are they paying for those same 104 commercials? That might be a lot cheaper, better.
So I think, I just a suggestion, what if we have our tourism representatives get with them and then get back with us and the county manager, and we decide at what level we want to and where.
Well, I'll be honest with you up front, your tourism people are going to be more interested in AYL, but the county seat is not ineffective. It's just that it has a different message, and to a certain degree has a different audience.
Yeah.
County seat is people that are, they're opinion shapers within communities. That's why they watch it. So when you get one of those guys to come play in your county because he's seen something on TV, he usually has other people who are following. But leisure does hit a bigger market. And Darren can answer questions on the leisure side if you want, because he basically handles that operation and gets to do all the fun product
And it may
reviews.
be something that.
We get a
you
few
wanna meet with your
recreational
tourism-
folks in Wasatch County. There's some recreational
There's a little bit
opportunity.
here.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you run a show on us up here. We did the snowmobiling show.
Yeah.
We've done Wasatch City Park. Yeah, we've done a couple of.
You guys have got a lot of freebies off of this.
So the advertising would go over to the leisure, that's a different contract.
Yeah.
Program.
Yeah.
But you could do a half promotion on there.
What's that?
But you could probably do a half a sponsorship on both or something. okay?
We have counties that do precisely that. Tooele County does both programs. Juab County does both programs. So, yeah.
And is the fees the same?
They're broken out, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Booth? I think there's definitely interest here at some level, and I think we'll want to not let it drop off the radar and get back with you.
Sure.
Can you, after we decide what we want to do,
Yeah.
can you have his number?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's got mine, and all of you do too, because I believe it's on these brochures.
May not have welcomed you properly, but thanks for coming to Wasatch County. We appreciate it.
Nice drive up today. It was good weather. I wish I'd have brought my motorcycle.
Okay, thanks.